Hey everyone, James here again. With just a few weeks left in 2020, I thought it was a good time to look towards the future and think about what we can do to make the most of 2021 starting right now. Let's start with the obvious. 2020 did not go as planned. No matter what you had in your head about what this year could look like, it likely was not that. Unless you had a global pandemic that shuts down the music industry as we know it and causes everyone to not tour for 9 months, in which case, hats off to you. You might want to consider a career in telling the future. But for the rest of us, this year has been one of compromise. We've had to look at what we hoped to do, figured out what we could do, and hopefully somewhere in the middle, we were able to find a little bit of happiness and creative satisfaction. And as we head into 2021, there are still a lot of unknowns. For example, no one is quite sure when live music will return. A couple months ago, they were saying it'd be here by the spring, and now it's the summer, and some people say it may be the fall, and others will tell you it's not until 2022. There's a whole lot of variables that go along with that, such as when to start rolling out a new album announcement, when to release that music, and what to do in the in-between. And while I don't have all the answers, I do have a handful of things that you can do right now to position yourself for success in the new year. These plans may have to change, but at least you'll be ready for whatever life throws our way. And trust me, it could be anything. So right off the bat, I like to look at the end of the year as a time to refresh everything. Now this means your photographs, your bio, your website, the way that you talk about yourself online, the channels that you focus your energy on, everything. Take a look at the big picture of your music identity, how you look online, how people are engaging with your music, and figure out what you can change and what you need to work on in the new year. Now, first and foremost, I always recommend that people get a brand new bio. Now, you may not think that bios are that important in the digital age where videos and images do so much of the talking for us, but bios still matter. People still want to know who the artist is that they're listening to. They want to know where they're from, what their influences are, what the driving force is behind their creativity. Are you trying to get a message across? Are you trying to comfort people? Are you trying to just do whatever comes to mind? Are you just having fun while you have the ability to do so? All these things matter, and people want to know your story. So if you haven't updated your bio yet, do that. And if you have, let's move on to your branding. Are you happy with your logo? Do you even have a logo? And if you don't, do you know where you can find one? There are a lot of artists out there who have amazing deals because of the pandemic, and you can take advantage of that to get a new branding going or update all of your socials with some new images, because just like people that are in graphic design, there are a lot of photographers out there who need work as well. So if you have the ability to do a socially distant photo shoot, or you want to try your hand at doing something yourself, that's great too. In the age of the internet where people are sharing media more often than ever, it's important to have really good photos and videos and things that reflect your music in a way that makes sense. You might have a really good photographer who isn't able to capture the idea and the aesthetics of what you're making creatively, and the two things just won't gel the way that you want them to. So now is a good time, between now and the end of the year, when most of the industry is on sleep mode, to go ahead and refresh it. Get out there and take some new pictures, get that new bio going, and you know what? Make some video content if you have the ability to do so. Now's a good time to make a time capsule piece. What happened to you this year? What were you going to do? What were you able to do? What are you regretting? And what are you happy that you were able to achieve? What things do you want to do in the new year? You can make a video like the one I'm making right now, where you just share with your fans all of your thoughts about the year and what you hope the next year brings. And they'll love that, because your fans have been waiting for more stuff from you. Even if you have constantly turned out new material this year, in spite of the pandemic, they're probably still hungry for more content. Everyone I know is hungry for content from creators that they love, so don't be afraid to also use this time to refresh your fans in a very literal sense. Tell them where you're at, what you're going through, what you're looking forward to. All these things matter, and there's never been a better time in 2020 to do it than right now. Next, I want to get a little bit into the motivational realm of things here. Now, I personally just had a birthday. When I have a birthday or when I'm getting near the end of the year, I typically make two lists that are basically the same thing, and that is my goals and aspirations for the next year. I like to look into the future and tell myself what I am going to do. Not what I hope to do, but what I am going to do. So I actually write a physical list of goals out, and I write it in a very present tense. So I don't say I want to save $1,000. I say I am saving $1,000. I don't say that I want to be a better writer. I say that I am improving my writing skills. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to get out some paper, not a notepad on your phone or on your computer, an actual piece of paper at the back of a cardboard box, whatever you have, and something to write with, and start writing down what you're going to accomplish in 2021. Now, since we don't know what's going to happen with the live music industry, maybe leave off touring the world just for right now. But there are a lot of things you can do in the meantime. Are you going to reach 10,000 followers? Are you going to reach 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify? Are you going to release an album, a single, a handful of singles? Are you going to make 3 music videos? Are you going to send a pitch email to management every single week until you find the perfect manager for you? Are you going to create a new EPK and start reaching out to record labels? Are you going to go an independent route? Figure out what it is you want to do next year and write it down. And I mean physically write it down and then start revisiting it, telling yourself it. I know that some of you will laugh at the idea of manifesting, and trust me, I do the same thing. I think that it's a little bit silly, but I do think that there's something to be said for having a positive outlook on the future and knowing where it is that you want to go in your career. So before we get to the end of the year, think about 2021 and ask yourself, where do I want to go? Who do I want to be, and what am I doing to get there? And then write it down in the active tense. Tell yourself you are doing that thing. You are becoming a better musician. You are writing more songs. You are releasing more material. You are shooting music videos. You are engaging with your fans on a regular basis. You are growing your following on the most important social media platform for your music on a regular basis. You are doing what you want to do, and that's a great way to head into the new year. And going along with this idea of reflecting and looking towards the future, I want you to take this time right now to think about what you've learned and how you have adapted to the pandemic that has happened throughout 2020. Now, all of us have reacted in a different way. Maybe you were sad for a while, or angry, or maybe both of those things at the same time, or oscillating between the two of them, and that's all perfectly fine. But no matter what, if you've made it this far, you have adapted. You've learned to do things differently. And if you're still pursuing your career in music, that has no doubt adapted as well. Maybe you realize that you couldn't tour for the majority of the year, so you've been writing more than ever. You've been recording more than ever. You've been doing live stream events. Well, these are things that you will want to carry into the new year. So start asking yourself, maybe you have the same goals that you had in 2019 heading into 2020, but you have a new set of skills as we head into 2021, and you want to figure out how you can use those skills and apply them to the goals that you've been chasing all along. So let's say that everything works out, and early in the year we find a vaccine that people are willing to take, and that live music returns in full force by the summer. So touring's back on the table, big album rollouts are back on the table, labels are signing people, management is signing people, it's all good. And you are chasing the dreams that you've always been chasing. How can you use the lessons learned from 2020 to apply them to 2021? For example, if you're an artist who has traditionally relied on live music to make your income, well, this year you've most likely figured out how to do live streaming. And if I had to make any predictions about what will happen when live music returns, it's that live streaming isn't going to go anywhere. So even if you are counting on being able to tour next year, don't let go of the fact that you have this ability to live stream. And maybe you figure out how you can reach fans all over the world while also touring. Maybe you live stream one day to the tour, or maybe after the tour wraps, you do a special bonus performance that is live stream only. And that will boost your bottom line, increase engagement, and get more people talking about your music more regularly. Another great example would be if you've written more this year than ever before, primarily because you haven't been able to go out on the road, or your job failed you and you don't have a job anymore and you just had more time on your hands. Well, if things get back into the full swing in 2021, that's probably going to change again. Maybe you'll be able to go back out on the road, maybe you'll find a full-time job, but you'll still want to write songs. And after all the time you've spent this year, you've probably gotten pretty good at writing songs. So think about next year as things start to change again, as our lives evolve further. How are you going to apply the lessons you've learned this year? So if you've gotten really good at writing, a song every single week, how can you keep up that momentum in the new year? Or if it's a song every single day, can you still carve out an hour every single day to work on writing songs? I believe that you can, but it has to be something that you are purposely trying to do. It isn't just going to happen on its own. You're going to have to make it happen. Next, I want to think about what you're doing for your fans. Now, obviously, engaging with them is really good, but when 2021 gets here, and if we're able to go back out on the road, or if you're planning to release that album that you've had shelved forever, keep in mind that everyone has been going through the same troubling times that we have. Many people much worse than yourself, most likely. And if that's the case, in 2021, that's still going to be going on. People are still going to be suffering. People are still going to be struggling financially. People are still going to have a million things going on in their lives that are not music. So there may be a little bit of time where even though live music comes back, or even though you put out that album that you've been shelving for so long, it doesn't immediately get the same hype, the same attention, the same sales that you thought it would pre-pandemic. And that's okay, because something that we all need to learn and take into 2021 with us is this idea that we need to be more empathetic for one another. We have to care about each other. You already care about your fans. That's why they care about you, because you forged this connection with them. But as we move into the new year and we start to get to the next phase of this global pandemic and everything that has happened economically as a result of it, we're going to have to be more understanding of one another. People might not be able to afford the same price concert tickets that they used to, or maybe they can buy a concert ticket but not the album, or maybe the album but not the concert ticket, whatever it happens to be. So try to think of cost-friendly ways that your core audience can stay engaged with you and feel that connection remain intact, even if they aren't able to participate in everything that you're doing. This is not only going to help you by growing and harnessing the power of your fan base, but it's also going to put you on the radar of other people in the industry, because there's nothing the industry loves more than artists who are able to adapt to what's happening. So if you're able to make more cost-friendly ways for your fans to stay engaged with your music and feel like they're a day one follower and supporter who consumes everything that you do while still thriving as a creative person trying to make a living off your art, that's going to turn a lot of heads. People are going to want to know how you do it. People are going to start following it, and it's going to help you build your audience. So again, be more empathetic and find ways to work with people in the new world. Don't think that we're going to go back to the way things were. That is a fantasy. That is something that we tell ourselves to comfort ourselves. That's not the case. We are moving forward and there's no stopping it, so we have to adapt. We have to keep adapting. We have to be empathetic. We have to help each other out, and you can do that and raise your awareness and increase your following and increase your streams and maybe possibly increase sales if you're a little bit more empathetic. It's that easy and that hard at the same time. And finally, as we continue to head towards 2021, I know that there are dreams that you've had for years, maybe even your entire life. I've talked about a lot of them in this video. But understand that you've changed this year, and your fans have changed this year. And I want you to make sure that you are doing what it is that is right for you right now. Don't try to recapture the glory of the past or the energy of the past or the sound of the past. Make sure that you are creating the person that you are today, the person who has survived 2020 and kept pushing, the person who is moving forward in their life and in their career in spite of everything the world has thrown at them. Don't try to do something that you were doing that worked in the years past. Do something new, do something that is of the moment. Tell the story about the person that you are right now and the person that you are becoming moving forward, because that's the only way that we're going to move past this. There are going to be a lot of artists who try to cash in on the nostalgia of the before times. And trust me, it's a good market. I mean, if there's anything that we noticed from the few years leading up to the pandemic, it's that nostalgia was selling tickets. You could do a 5-year anniversary tour, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on, and people would buy tickets because they want to recapture that magic. But the COVID pandemic of 2020 has given us a new, fresh start. And it's hard to think of another event that has given the entire world a similar experience. Everyone around the planet has been in lockdown. A lot of people have lost their jobs. There's been economic stress. There's been a lot of uncertainty. And this is something that we are experiencing on a global level. And trust me, there will be a market for nostalgia. There'll be a market for people who just try to pretend like we didn't all spend an entire year indoors and yelling at each other about masks. But the artists that move forward the quickest, the ones that really capture the attention of the masses, will be the people who speak to where we are today, where we're going in the near future. The people who address and are aware of what's been happening in our lives. Because always, throughout human history, the music that has always stood out the most is the one artist that speaks to how people are feeling, that speaks to the right now, that speaks to the new normal or the future normal or whatever it happens to be. People want that connection. They want to feel seen, they want to feel heard, and there's a big opportunity right now to capture a global audience by embracing the weirdness, the chaos, the calamity, the everything that has been 2020. So as we head into the new year, don't be afraid to embrace the person that you are today. Because if you made it this far, they're strong, they're resilient, they're creative, they're adaptive, they're all the things that everybody is always saying that they hope to be. And you possess that right now, so don't lose sight of it. And if you need more advice or some fun ideas, or you just want to understand what's going on in the music industry, because it's a lot, Well, click the subscribe button down below because that's why Music Biz is here. We bring you 1 to 5 videos every single week about the music business, and we'd love for you to join our community. So please click that button. And if you already have, well, then you have my sincerest thanks. I always appreciate your support. I'm hoping to make a lot more content for you before the end of the year. And of course, 2021 is going to be busy. Hopefully less chaotic, but busy all the same. And all I want you to do right now, aside from listening to everything I just said, is to take care of yourself because you deserve it.